Welcome, Fresh Face Skin listeners, to another Fresh Face Skin episode with me, your host, Amelia Goff. And today I wanted to introduce the theme of this episode. And this is often overlooked in way of the power of facial massage. And today is all about actually getting a deeper understanding of the true power of this amazing holistic touch benefit to the skin, which many of you listeners know I am a very big fan of. I love my own face massage. I love working with face yoga. I love working holistically with the skin. And I think the power of touch is something that is so important, especially now more than ever, where we are in the industry and today in this world. So I am really so excited to introduce our guest for today. Isabella Loneragan, who is a skin therapist, educator, and the founder of Skin Forme Academy, the touch-led mastery of massage. Welcome to the podcast,
Thank you so
Isabella.
much. Thanks so much for having me, Amelia. I'm excited to talk all about this amazing topic.
Oh, I'm so excited. And like I said, I feel like more than ever right now, where we are in this industry, this world, touch and what we do as therapists for our clients in way of facials and in particular facial massage, the benefits that that touch provides to not only confidence, skin health, but also just to connection. And I
Yeah,
can't wait to talk about that today because it's one of the most fundamental parts of what we do as skin therapists, and you are an absolute queen
oh,
around
thank
touch and
you.
massage when it comes to this connection in this industry. So why this conversation matters for both skin health and therapists success today, because you've got
Yeah,
an academy that you train this technique, this massage technique, the benefits. And it's so important, I think, for listeners that are not only into their skin and looking after their skin to really understand the power of massage, but also to the many therapists that may be listening to this about the benefits of bringing in facial massage and touch, real touch connection to your clinic or practice.
yeah, yeah.
So, Isabella, welcome. Can you share a little bit of background about yourself, what you do, what led you to create the Skin Form Academy?
Yes. Okay. So just so you know, moving forward, it's pronounced Skin Forme.
Fine.
That's okay. And the reason we called it that is because I was trained, a lot of my training is European. I was trained in Paris.
Mhm.
So the accent over the E at the end of Skin Forme is a nod to my Parisian training. So
Okay, very important.
yeah, so there's a lot that's wrapped up in the name of Skin Forme because I train a lot of skin therapists in their physical form. So we work on the skin in their form, and then the E with the accent is the nod to the Parisian training. So there's a little bit tied up in the name of why we called it the Skin Forme Academy. But to get to your answer, I mean, for me, I've been in the industry 20 years and I've always been a huge fan of facials and facial touch. I came into the industry with the goal to do facials. I
Mhm.
was trained in South Africa originally, and the woman that I trained under, I said to her, I just want to learn how to do facials. And she was like, oh, that doesn't exist. You have to do a whole beauty diploma. And at the time, I was like, oh, I don't really want to do a beauty diploma. Like the nails and the waxing and all that wasn't really my goal,
Yeah.
facial work. But anyway, I did it. I did, and over in South Africa, you learn. I could learn modular. You
Mhm.
sign up and you do course by course.
Mhm.
Instead, it's a bit different here. So I did the facials and I loved it. I was like, this is
This
unbelievable.
is my jam. Probably
This is
exactly how
it.
I
Yeah.
felt. Yes.
And
Yes.
I'd never like I was 28 when I came into the industry, so I'd done a degree in science and psychology, but then I'd gone and worked in all sorts of industries. I was working in finance in London. I worked for Bridge Climb in Sydney. I was working with autistic children at one stage. Like I've done everything.
Mhm.
And so, but I'd never fell into something and gone, whoa, this is powerful. And
Mhm.
so that first module that I did, I was like, wow. So then I just opened up a little business in my spare room in South Africa. I was living in South Africa at the time and just started to do facials here and there when people, from my little letterbox flyers would
Mhm.
ring me and book a treatment. And then I continued to do the rest of the diploma subjects. And and they were all fine. They were never really super exciting to me, but I did do them and I ran a business in South Africa doing nails and waxing and all of that. And I must admit, it stood me in good stead for learning about humans and human behavior and what women want and what they value. So
Mm.
as much as I didn't want to do it, it was still really good.
You
But
learnt
I
a lot.
literally,
Mm.
yeah, I learned a lot. Yeah. And so I've trained all over the world. I've trained in Paris twice now. I've trained in London. I've trained in
Mm.
South Africa, in New Zealand. And I think what became painstakingly obvious to me was the standard of training across not only in Australia, but in many places around the world isn't that high. In South Africa, it's very high. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't have anything to compare it to. But when I got back here and was meeting beauty therapists here and having facials as like research to see what people were offering, the facials were shocking. I couldn't believe it. I
How
had
long
no
ago was
idea.
this, Isabella, approximately?
When I came back to Australia, it was 2011.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, quite a
so
while ago.
yeah, quite a while ago now. So yeah, so I was trialing different facials, and then at the time I when I got back from South Africa, I was so obsessed with facials and skin, but I actually thought I wanted to study dermatology. I was like, I love skin, I love fixing skin.
Mhm.
So maybe dermatology is the right thing for me. But I thought, but instead of jumping into dermatology, I should go and work for dermatologists first
Smart.
to trial the industry because what am I going to do? Like apply for medical school, spend $300,000 on a medical degree, maybe not make it,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
So I luckily there was a business, Northern Sydney Dermatology, it was just up the road from me, and they were recruiting for a dermal therapist. And I had studied dermal therapy in South Africa. So
Mhm.
I was like, this job is for me. I'm gonna do it, I'm getting it. So I literally went up the street, knocked on their door, handed my CV over, pretty much begged for the job and eventually got it. And I stayed there for 5 years. I worked for Australia's best dermatologists, and it was unbelievable education.
Mhm.
Way better than any degree
On
because
the
I was
job.
in on the job learning,
Mhm.
seeing these clients, well, these patients, treating them. So I was in the dermal clinician side, but working with the doctors. So I supported the doctors every day. So they'd page me and say, Isabella, please come to Dr. So and so's office. And then I'd walk in and they'd say, please, can you educate Anna about her acne? And I've put her on Roaccutane. So can you tell her about it and tell her what she can and can't do to her skin? Or please, can you recommend some treatments for, Annabelle for da 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 da. So I did that for
Mhm.
5 years. And what I worked out when I worked there was that people were very frustrated
Mhm.
with the medical industry. They were annoyed because when you go to a dermatologist, you're most likely going to be put on a scripted medication.
Yes.
And we're very, very educated as consumers now, as customers. And a lot of people know now that you don't have to take a medication for every little ailment, acne, rosacea, whatever it is. So what would happen is these patients would come into my clinic room and cry and say, I'm really
Away from the
frustrated,
doctor.
away from the doctor and go, I'm frustrated. I've just spent another
Mhm.
$200 for a script. And I told the doctor I didn't want to be on Roaccutane anymore, but she said there's no other answer and no one's listening to me. And meanwhile, I was giving treatments in this clinic room, all under the employment, but
Mhm.
watching their skin improve and selling them products and recommending them products and all of these things. And I was learning very quickly that there was a huge demand or a huge lack of touch-led treatments, nurturing,
Yes.
skin fixing without drugs, and proper skin analysis with a result in a skin plan and a product plan. So the clinical side, which is very heavy in dermatology, was what people did not want. They
Mhm.
wanted to be touched, they wanted to be heard, they wanted to be nurtured, they wanted someone to listen. So at the end of the 5 years, I decided I was a bit like, what now? Like, do I go into nursing or should I? I knew I didn't want to be a dermatologist. It was too sterile for me and too
Mhm.
clinical. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back out and open a business because I'd had the business in South Africa. So
Mhm.
I literally left and found a space above a hairdresser in Sydney, a little room above a hairdresser, and opened this business. And luckily, people had Googled me when I left the dermatology practice. And luckily, I'd set up a website that in the CEO had my name in it. So on the first day I opened, I had 11 clients, which was
Wow.
insane.
Nice.
That's when I knew that what I had identified was real and
Mm,
there was a real need for it. And so then I opened the Dermal Diary in 2015, and fast forward all through all of that 7 years, which was going overseas and learning more advanced touch, I kept coming back, realizing that there was nothing here that was teaching people how to touch the skin with intention in
mm,
the right places, how
mm,
to emotionally connect with your client, how to release emotional tension, and how to build the trust,
mm,
because trust would equal the transformation,
mm.
both physical and emotional in the client, and transformation would equal an increase in your attention,
Yeah.
because it's all very
All
well
very
being able
linked and
to,
extremely powerful if you
yeah,
get that connection and if a client feels heard,
yes,
you're
and
educating
supported,
them, yeah, and listening and
yeah,
customizing and all of that, you've got them for life
you've
because
got
really
them
that's
for
what we
life.
want as humans. We just want
Yeah,
to
that's what we
be
want.
heard and
And that's what we
supported.
weren't getting. That's what they
Mm,
weren't getting in dermatology. And, it was great. I had a lot of clients at the Dermal Diary, but what happened when I went and learned more advanced facial massage and really started to get into acupressure point massage and sculpting and lifting and the Buccal, releasing
mm,
that emotional tension, that's when my business like went crazy. I was on the front cover of magazines when I came back because I
mm.
was the first to bring Buccal into Australia. So
Wow,
it went,
Isabella, how did I not know that? That's
yeah.
big. That's
Yeah, it was
massive.
nuts. So it didn't exist here until
No.
I came back with it and released it. And then because I had a PR representative, she was like, "What is this? Oh my
Mm.
God." And the next minute I
We
was
need to
booked
get this
out for
out there.
months, months. Yeah.
Mm,
So it was very, very powerful. And there was no, and the problem was people were ringing me, and I was a sole trader, and saying, "Can you train me? Where do I go? Who's doing this?" And I was like, "No one's doing it." And
mm,
so for me, I knew from well, I learned in 2018, so 7 years ago now. So then I knew that there was a huge demand for it in advanced touch
mm,
with the build out of business knowledge
mm,
is definitely where I saw a huge hole for B2B. So
mm,
I've got two clinics now still. I've got Sydney and
mm,
Bowral, and I am a sole trader still, and
mm,
I see clients one on one, but I have the Skin Forme Academy, which is
mm.
now I think we've
Training.
almost trained up to 1,000 students because people are so desperate
Wow.
for excellent education in the touch space and the touch led mastery space. Yeah, it's crazy.
Isabella, what a story.
So many stories.
Isn't there? When you have the opportunity to actually share it, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah,
Because actually, as a business owner and someone like yourself that just is obviously it's contagious. I can feel it. Your energy,
yeah,
your passion and love for what you do. It's so lovely to sit and actually think about the journey that's been and actually tell it,
yeah.
because it makes you actually realize, wow, it really has been a journey.
Yeah.
It really has
And we
been a
don't do
process.
that
We
much.
don't enough.
No, we don't. And it's powerful as women.
No. And I think what stands out to me is the fact that you threw yourself in your job, say working for the dermatologist, you were open to learning and seeing and experience all of these different things within a whole different part of the industry. You extracted sort of the areas of opportunity that you felt,
Yeah.
and you've built to what you are today and what you're offering and how you're supporting so many other therapists as well, which I think is really remarkable. So a big well done to you.
Thank you.
Obviously, now what you focus on is massage. Would you say that even within your own?
Yes. So I'm known now in Australia and abroad as, the facial massage queen and all of that. And it's definitely what I focus on in the B2B space, so the business to business space. However, in my clinic, I'm still very much a skin therapist.
So, going back to, say, your facial massage, why is touch and specifically facial massage such an important piece of the skincare puzzle that I feel gets overlooked?
I think it gets overlooked because it's a bit insidious. It's a bit ingrained in that if you're a beauty therapist still in Australia, you're just a beauty therapist. We
Mm,
get a bit of that still,
mm.
and it's overlooked as just a relaxing
Yes, I was about to
massage,
say,
a
even by
relaxing, come and have
customers.
just come and have a nice facial and go about your day. But excellent touch is intentional touch. It's
Mm,
a sharing and exchange of energy. And it's not just moving product around the face, it's understanding the anatomy, the touch points, the tension areas, and gently dancing within them
Love that.
to be able to release your clients' worries. You
Mm,
know, our tissues carry our issues. And I am a firm believer in that. I know when I'm emotionally stressed or something's happened, my neck is goes into this like spasmy thing because all my issues go into my neck.
okay.
So I know that we as women carry a lot of tension. I
Mhm,
think it's the missing piece of the puzzle because what's happening, in my opinion, it's not necessarily fact, but
mhm,
it's my opinion. In Australia, the teaching standard isn't that high in the
mhm,
diploma. So the poor teachers are teaching a curriculum. They're going, yes, cleanse, yes, tone, yes, exfoliate, yes, here's the massage, learn the moves, and out you go, and I've signed you off. The
mm,
problem is they're missing the mark. You know, these facialists that are being put through a diploma and nothing else, they go into the industry and think, okay, this is all it is.
mm,
Whereas if you really learn to understand the anatomy, but also so much more than anatomy. It's fascia. It's how the client is feeling at the
mm.
time.
The
You might know
emotion.
the anatomy inside and out, but
Mm,
if the client doesn't trust you, doesn't want to be there, isn't relaxed, is having a terrible time in their life and can't let go, you're going to have a really tough job. So the trust part has to start first. So I think that missing piece is connecting with the nervous system regulation element of it as well, and
Amazing.
making sure that you're using both hands to energetically connect with your client and give them what they need from your hands. I'm a big advocate of, these are your most valuable tools. You can buy a Morpheus 8 and a Hydrofacial and all of these amazing expensive tools, but they'll break down. They might go out of manufacture, whatever it is.
Mm,
But if you invest in these is what, like, I can go all over the world and I know I can give an incredible facial and people will line up.
mm,
So I think that is that missing piece is that people are not valuing until they've had it.
mm.
When they've had it, they value it.
I've
But
experienced it.
it's
Yeah.
the experience, and I teach my therapists, don't just provide a service,
Mm,
give them an experience because they'll
mm,
come back for an experience
mm,
that they can get a service anywhere.
mm.
But your experience, and only you have your
My
hands. No
hands.
one else has your hands.
Mhm,
So, yeah, I firmly believe that in the training that many people are receiving, the missing link is that real understanding that if you commit to connecting with your client,
mm,
through excellent touch and controlling the nervous system and doing all of those amazing things, then your trust goes up, their transformation is a result, and then a turnover and retention and all those things happen. Because remember, it's all very well to learn a new technique, but if you can't properly run a business with it, you're stuffed.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We
And
can't
we're all
properly
here to
educate
run a
or
business.
promote it,
Exactly.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
maintain that level of standard, then you are
Yes.
going to lose. And I
Yes.
mean, we're in an industry that unfortunately we have a lot of high expectations, not only put upon ourselves, but from our clients as well.
Yes.
We want people that want results now. They
Now.
social media, seeing
Yeah.
filters, everything is not what it seems. It's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and we're also our worst enemy in a lot of ways when it comes to our skin, and it's a sad reality. But we pick
Yeah.
apart our face, and it is very emotional. So
Yeah.
that brings its own level of, I guess, need, want,
Yeah.
results. Everything has to be quick for us to be able to trust. Um,
Yeah. And I think too, it's an interesting one because it depends on your target market and who you're bringing into your business. And
mm,
I'm very solid on my ideal client and who
mm,
belongs in my
mm,
business. And
mhm.
I can pick them pretty quickly if they're not the right fit. And I'm a very quick referrer. So I'll
Yeah,
say,
we're not the right clinic.
I'm not the right clinic for
Yes,
you.
sometimes.
Yeah, and that's powerful. If
And
you
I
have,
have to say, Isabella, the community that will be listening to this, you can all hear me right now, fresh faces. We have a community that are in it for the long haul. They understand
Yeah.
that skin's a complex organ. It is
And it changes.
internally linked. Yes.
Yes.
There are so many different reasons of why it may be playing up or communicating the way it is.
100%.
Because that's
Yeah.
a level of education and also
Yeah.
trust that we've built, but it's
Yeah.
actually also a level of patience that our clients have had to, sit
They
in.
have to have.
You
Yeah.
have to, because the
Yeah.
skin will do so many different things because it is so complex, but it is so
Exactly.
amazing. And if
Yeah.
we can really start to unravel and be consistent with what we're working towards, then true
Yeah.
results, long-term results come through. I actually wanted to pick your brain, Isabella, around, facial massage. Obviously, I really want to go into the benefits and I want to pick your brain around exactly how facial massage is so beneficial for the skin's health, especially when it comes to not only tension, but we know tension causes wrinkles.
Yes.
And that's a whole thing in itself, which I'd love to uncover. But before we get to that, what is your take on, say, facial massage versus, I mean, you just mentioned Morpheus 8. There's so many different modalities now that are coming out in the industry. It's never ending in this
Oh,
industry.
it's never
As to
ending.
how to look after our skin, how to fight aging, how to
Yes.
produce more collagen. What is your take around facial massage and the true benefits of facial massage for, say, let's say, skin health, blood flow, circulation, release of fascia buildup, tension in the skin versus modalities every, say, 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, okay, great question. So, I guess it stems back from when I worked in dermatology. I also did a year in plastic surgery, which was fascinating too. But I think for me, what I've learned after touching thousands upon thousands of faces is that I seem to see a better result in the skin when clients come to me and they're touched versus a machine.
Mm,
So you could go and have your your laser facial or whatever it
mm,
is. Not the problem, the benefit of the touch-led treatments, in my opinion, is that when you when you put a facial machine on a client, you're going to break the physical touch that you would have
mhm.
normally been putting on. So instead of putting your hand on your client, you're putting
A
a machine.
boundary there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you instantly cutting off connection at the knees. So you've lost that.
Hmm.
But then what comes with the facial machine um, treatment is a whole bunch of things, often pain.
Mm,
So a lot of treatments aren't comfortable. As
mm,
soon as you put the client's body into any type of pain, of course, cortisol is going to be created because they go into a stress response.
mhm,
Now, when the body's in any type of cortisol production line, your ability to heal slows right down because you're dealing with cortisol instead of a healing mentality in the body.
mm.
So my personal opinion is I would prefer to have my hands on my clients giving a facial and then do like a gentle peel
Yes.
versus like a major laser facial or like Morpheus 8 or IPL, for example. And I found that once you're able to build that trust in your client and they're listening to you and they're doing the home care and they're coming to you for the facials, I have seen better, faster results in skin clarity
Hmm.
than if you're telling them to have like Fraxel or something.
Hmm.
And I feel that is tied into the whole experience
Hmm.
versus just having the treatment.
Hmm.
So picture this, you've got acne, you go to a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon or a skin clinic on a high street, you walk in, there's tiles on the floor, you sign in, they take you into a room that's got white walls and fluoros on the ceiling, you lie down on a hard bed.
Hmm.
They prep your skin, they do the treatment, they put the ice on it or whatever it is they're going to put on it. You've maybe had goggles on, then they've come off, but again, there's fluoros.
Hmm.
You get off the bed, you haven't taken your clothes off, you're onto tiled floors, you've had discomfort, away you go, you can't go in the sun, da da da. Da.
Hmm.
Versus
Hmm.
you come to someone that has told their story to you, which is, I've been in the industry 20 years. I did the time in dermatology, then I did this, and then I went overseas, and da, 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 and this is why I've created this product, and this is why I've chosen this treatment. They come in, the environment is calming, welcoming, warm, it smells nice. they're speaking to you in a way that's nurturing, that's welcoming. They're taken into the room. There's carpet on the floor. It's warm. They're told where to put their clothes. They're told how to undress. They're told exactly what to do. They lie down. The therapist comes over and touches them and asks them, "Are you ready for your treatment?" She does the treatment. We release emotional tension out of the face through the masseter muscle whilst releasing fascia, tension. All the eyes are worked, all the tension, because remember, we live in Australia, so we're squinting, but we've also, some of us have kids and that's stressful, so we get angry because they won't put their shoes on in the morning. And then the husband left the garage open and the garage got flooded, and we're carrying all of this emotional tension, and then someone's working it all through with gentle fascia, tension release moves, and lymph shifting moves. We get to the end, our emotional tension is released from our face. We're trusting, we're understanding. My nervous system is in a parasympathetic state. The therapist has explained every step as we go. There's been no pain that was unwelcome or unexpected. I look released. I look energized. My skin is looking glowy and glossy. She puts a tinted sun cream on me. I stand up. I feel incredible. I put my feet
Have a
onto a
herbal
rug.
tea.
I exactly have a herbal tea. There's a beautiful scent. It's calming. She's used products that are all natural and beautiful scent. Da, 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 da. Do you see where I'm going here?
Oh, Isabella, you're speaking like skin, and I know you speak in your own clinic too. And I'm sure everyone that's listening is like, this is why Isabella is on the podcast because we're so aligned. Absolutely, I hear what you're saying,
It's
and
an
it's
experience.
it's all about the experience. And as I always say to my team, and I know fresh facing clients will advocate for this, the minute that our clients walk in the door, the experience begins. And like you
Yeah,
said, it's the essential oils, it's the wood surfaces that are warm and friendly, it's the
everything.
smiles, it's the stand,
Yeah,
it's the offering the herbal tea.
yeah,
It's all of it. It's the touch on the bed, it's the scalp massage, it's this again, the essential oils, the blanket, it's warm, it's the constant education. It's all of it because it has to be connected and it has
it
to be
has to
level,
be.
I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah,
because there is the opposite in the clinical
yeah,
end of this industry. But I believe what I love about what we do and what I love about what you do from listening to you, Isabella, is we create moments of safety and comfort
yes. So
for
they
our clients
feel
that feel
safe.
vulnerable, at
Yeah.
that time, maybe without even knowing, they feel
No, no,
emotional.
they often don't know.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah.
true. And for me, and I very strictly, I get asked to speak at a lot of events and on stage a lot, and I do stand up and say, I'm not here to tell you that machines are bad. That's not what I'm here to tell you. Machines work. They
Yeah.
work. They do things that are great. However, the missing opportunity to connect with your client
Mm,
is evident when you are solely using machines.
mm,
And so I train a lot of therapists that come to me and go, "Oh, but I've got an IPL." That's fine. We're going to still build it in. But
mm,
if you can give them an excellent experience with your hands and with the IPL, no one else is going to be able to do that
mm,
because the girl down the road is just going to have the IPL because she's not going to have advanced her skills in that touch level mastery. The other thing too is what I learned in dermatology was when you're focused purely on the things that machines give you, that market is very different to the market that I bring. Those types of clients have a different philosophy about aging and wellness and health than what I promote. They know I don't.
mm.
So
Some
you try.
modalities, but people they love what we
Yeah,
actually provide is results. So I
is
think
result
sometimes
just in a
people
different way.
in a more holistic,
Yeah,
I guess,
touch led way.
touch. Yeah, now
Yeah,
that I'm thinking about it,
yeah.
Isabella, I'd love to hear your take on let's say the aging process in the skin.
Mm,
And I talk a lot about aging. I mean, it's multi-layered, we know that, but a
mm,
lot of
mm.
it not only is that lack of collagen, that slowdown of that fibroblast cell, that slowdown of cell turnover, that lack of or that loss of fat pads. I mean, the subcutaneous layer, that muscle layer that weakens. I really would love to hear your take on how massage can prevent aging in the skin purely through
Touch.
touch
Yeah,
and the points and
yeah, yeah.
fascia release and everything that massage does.
Yeah. Okay. So at a very granular level, you've got to think of fascia as like the sheets on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you've got your skin is the doona,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fitted sheet is your fascia,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got your dermal layer as the mattress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the fascia is pulled really tight, you're going to have weird potential aging in some areas of your face and laxity in others because often fascia is pulled some tight in some areas and looser in others.
Mm-hmm.
Like jowls are a good example of like it
Mm-hmm.
being loose. So if you can effectively massage the face using techniques that challenge tight fascia, but also lift, sculpt, release emotional tension, and shift lymph. Very different to lymphatic massage. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole world of lymph
Mm-hmm.
and terminologies, and I am very careful of how I describe lymph treatments. So
Mm-hmm.
my style is called shifting, and we use vibrational moves in the sculpting and the lifting. If you can challenge that tight fascia and really stimulate all of the vascularity under the skin, so clear out any blockages because our vessels do get blocked and we don't really realize it, and really stimulate those underlying layers, your aging process won't necessarily stop because we know we can't stop it,
Mm-hmm.
but it will slow down because blockages are released and nutrition and oxygen are going to go to the places that they need to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing that is a big one is we have an emotional center in our brain called the limbic center. It's what happens when someone touches you and you trust them. You actually make a connection with that person, which is why we are held as babies, skin on skin, because we want to make sure that we're connecting with our babies. So we're told, put them on your chest. Now, if you connect with your client and they learn through the limbic center in your brain, your emotional connector, they learn that your touch represents calm and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's aging process slows down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, a lot of doctors out there would be listening to me going, "You're insane. You don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. You're claiming that emotional connection and touching people in the right way will slow the aging process down." I promise you it does.
Oh, would you
Because
say it's all linked to that nervous system?
100%. Because again, when you drop off the cortisol,
Mm.
people don't look so bad,
Oh,
basically.
cortisol is so detrimental to not only
No,
aging, but to really any process in the body,
any
gut,
process in the body.
hormones, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. My goal is to take the skin worry and
Wow.
the out, and then they don't, and then they link trust and reliability with me, so that worry that's tied to, oh my God, I hope my skin's okay and I hope it's being looked after is gone,
Mm.
and then again reduces the cortisol down, so it has an impact on the slowing down the aging process.
And I mean, it's such a beautiful take on consistent skin treatments because, I mean, we deal personally. I always say to the team, I mean, we all know this, clients know this. We're not a spa, a skin clinic that people would
No,
come in once a year or twice
once a
a year,
year,
maybe
yeah,
about.
you're a regular.
No, we are about the skin
Yeah,
transformation, the skin
yeah,
journey, the consistency, and I
yeah,
guess the self-care of showing up for your appointment, for your AM and your PM routine, and whatever other things you're doing
yes,
at home, because it is a level of self-care. But I love the way that you said, you and providing what you do to the client every month or so takes
yeah,
that skin worry out because it's so
yeah.
true when you're consistent and you're showing up for yourself and you're putting your skin in the hands of a professional
Someone else. Yeah,
consistently, it
yeah,
does take that worry out because you're seeing that person consistently. You've got those new questions, they're getting
yeah,
back on track, they're
yeah.
reassessing, they're reevaluating, and you're off again for another, 30 days or so.
Yeah, it's the whole offering, it's the whole experience that they know that they're going to get honest feedback, they're going to get incredible touch, and I'm not
Mm,
going to sell them a million products. I'm only going to sell
mm,
them what they need. And if I feel like they suddenly need an eye cream and they've never bought one, I'll honestly recommend it. But I also will say, you don't need one, come back in 3 years.
Yeah, you're honest, and that builds a
Honest.
deep, deep level of trust.
Trust.
Now, I
Yes.
know what you're gonna. I have a feeling of how you're gonna answer, but I want our listeners to really hear your insight on this. How does touch work in synergy work with, say, active skincare products? How do you
Oh, so
like to
good.
explain that to your
Yeah,
clients?
so my whole thing is there's a big difference to whacking on your skincare and massaging your skincare.
Mm,
Your body will receive a lot more product if you work it in strategically than
mm,
if you just whack it on.
mm,
So there is a level of magic that happens between your touch and with the sandwich of skincare and then their skin. But I firmly believe that so there's quite a science and an art in massaging the skin effectively when you're using a specific product that has benefit to the product, not just about the touch. So
mm.
yes, synergistically, there's a lot of magic in doing a excellent facial with active
Yeah,
skincare
love that.
because the skin will absorb a lot more if you're touching and working in with love and intention
Mhm,
versus just, and I say versus just moving the product around the face.
mhm.
Because a lot of beauty therapists do that, I've noticed. They just work the product around the face and then call it a facial. And I'm like, no, 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 there's
So
so
much
much
more
more
than
to
that.
this art.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, Fresh Faces listening, I have to let you know we've got this massage, this facial treatment coming to Fresh Face Skin. We're all booked in for
Yes.
training in March, which is super exciting. Can't wait to offer it. Do you have
Very
any
exciting.
tips for clients in how they can support some facial massage movements when they're applying, say, their cleanser,
Yeah.
serums? Like, is there any basic tips you can share with the listeners today to get a little bit more from their application?
Yeah, so everything always up. So the goal, the name of the game is we always want to make sure that we're pushing everything up
Hmm.
constantly. The
Hmm.
other thing to do is we can always use our thumbs, and a lot of people don't do that. So like what I would do is put
Yes.
hands together like that and then
Mm.
like this, and you can actually do a lot of like lymph shifting
Through the brow.
over and across the top of the brow, but also under. You
Mm,
can start super light for lymph
mm,
moves, but you can actually increase the pressure under this area because a lot of people don't realize that, and when I
you
teach you,
do
you're
that
going to
while
be
you're
blown
doing it.
away.
So
Yeah,
relaxing.
this area is our sinus. A
Mm,
lot of people have sinus issues that they don't know about.
mm,
So when I come and teach you, and we're going to be putting our hands in our clients' mouths and
mhm.
working this sinus area with our thumbs,
Can't wait.
you'll find, and this is what was so magic when I released the intrinsic facial, which is what that training's based on, is that people were coming to me going, I don't like facials traditionally, but I've heard you do something that's not a facial. And I was like, what? And so I was converting people that didn't traditionally have monthly facials into people that were having monthly facials because of the benefits
Mm,
of Buccal and sculpting and lifting.
mm.
So
And they were
that is,
experiencing them too
they
firsthand.
were
They kept rebooking.
experiencing,
Yeah,
yeah. So
and
that
results.
sinus work,
I mean, it
you'll
does feel
find,
beautiful. For those
yeah,
listening that can't see what Isabella's doing, she's done like a prayer-like hand,
yeah.
placed it on the top of her forehead, and she's using her two thumbs to work above the brow bone to the
Yes, above the
temple,
brown, and
and then
then
down under the
below the
eye.
eye, and quite high, start quite high up and under the eyes, sweeping across. And then we work down a bit deeper because this is all sinus.
Mm,
Now, who know? I mean, I know your listeners, there'll be listeners that have sinus infections and sinus pain. It is so hard to think when
mm,
you have a sinus infection.
mm.
Imagine if you can't think and then you go for a facial and the therapist releases like 50% or 80% of your sinus tension and pain, you walk out and you can think again. I
Yeah,
mean, you can't even put a
quality.
price on that.
No, and it's such a deep headache when your sinuses are
Deep
blocked.
headache. Yeah.
It's
So
like a
that's a
real
powerful
blockage
move.
feeling. Oh, I love that. Isabella, before we move on to some myths that I'd love you to bust, I just want to know a little bit more about Buccal because I know a lot of our listeners would have heard about it and it is all over social media at the moment.
Yes.
I'd love for you to just give us a brief understanding of how Buccal massage is different to, say, a standard massage technique on.
Yeah. Okay. Great question. So Buccal is um, based on originally it was based on the area which is where the buccal fat is, so just below your cheek area.
Mhm.
Now, in Australia, you'll hear people call it buccal or buckle.
Mhm.
I am a Parisian trained snob. And so
Buccal.
when I was trained in France, we said buccal with a French accent. So I can't say buccal
Buckle.
or buckle. No. Now, buccal is intraoral massage, which basically means in the treatment that I do, the first half, we put our index fingers in the client's mouth. We go back to the back of their mouth and we find a little area that you can only find when you've been trained. We anchor our fingers into a special little spot in the back of the client's mouth, and then we use our thumbs to
Mm.
massage up into their frontalis, but also the eyebrow, the occipital area, and the sinus area.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Yeah. Now, a lot of people say, why would we need to put our fingers in the client's mouth to do that? Can't we just push our thumbs into their face? We can, but you're not going to get the feeling of safety and trust that comes when you are anchored into someone's mouth. They're not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere, and you're getting proper pressure, remedial pressure on
Mm.
the client's face.
Mm.
Now, when I train, I talk heavily about fairy fingers. I am not a fairy fingers beauty therapist. I'm all about remedial pressure and getting a result. So you can
And
only get
firm
that
also equals trust. I think there's a level of trust from
firm
the
and
client when you can feel
stability.
that. Yeah.
Yes. And so you'll after I've trained you, you'll see all of the social media and you'll be like, oh, that's wrong technique. And I'm like, social media kills me now because I see all of these girls
Yeah.
doing it in a way that's not technically correct. But
Mm.
yes, so we put our index fingers in first, we massage the upper face with our thumbs. Once we've done the whole routine, which is very heavy on pressure points and pressure release in the face, we then take our hands out of the client's mouth, we remove our gloves, we put new gloves on, and
Mhm.
then we put our thumbs into the client's mouth and we work the whole bottom jaw area.
Mm.
Very powerful. So we start with lymph shifting and then we move to lymph face lifting, and we actually lift the client's face up and back by working on the depressor muscle. Now our depressor muscle is here. It attaches our cheek to our jaw,
Mhm.
and it's the one that our jowls are created from. So
Mhm.
we're literally going to give your clients a full facelift, a manual facelift. And a lot of tension is carried here that we don't know about. Because remember, we carry a lot of tension, but we go off to have a physio appointment, a massage appointment, a chiro, an osteo. But
Mm.
actually, a
Yeah.
lot of those modalities ignore the face. Yet
Mm.
all these women are walking around with these sore necks and sore jaws
Mhm.
because there's a huge correlation between um, uterine or pelvic floor trauma and your masseter. So
Ooh,
if you've had pelvic floor trauma, and let's face it, birth is pelvic
pregnancy
floor
and
too,
birth.
yeah,
Yeah.
and endometriosis,
Mm-hmm.
heavy periods,
Mm.
anything that's traumatic in the uterine area, you will have a tense masseter. And anyone that's had
Wow.
like a C-section, so you'll find that there is a big correlation between the uterus and the pelvic floor and your masseter. So that's where Buccal is magic.
I'm just like, Isabella, can
Yeah.
you do a massage for me?
Come now. Yeah.
I'm so excited to offer this. I
I
really,
can't wait to train you. You're going to love
oh,
it.
and I'm going to be
You're
doing
going to
it to
love it.
myself, and I'm going to be
Yes, you
popping into
can.
the girls will be like, Amelia, you're coming
Yeah.
in weekly now for these
Yeah.
massages. I'm like, girls,
The power
I'm
that
just,
your team is going to have, because
yeah.
I must admit, you're the first team, and this says so much about you as an incredible business owner. You're the first business that's had me come in and train the entire team in
Oh,
Australia. Yes.
really?
Yeah, which is
Oh, thank you for
massive.
sharing.
And for me, as a touch expert who's trying to raise the standard of this
Standard.
industry,
Yeah.
I wish there were more business owners
Yeah.
like you. So Melbourne is so lucky to have you,
Thank you,
because
Isabella.
what's happening is we get one therapist sent or we
Mm.
get a business owner sent. The problem is there's a disconnect between the business owner and the rest of the staff. Whereas you
Mm.
are going heck all guns
Mm.
blazing. We're
Want the
doing
girls
this.
to all be
So you
the
are
same
already on the
standard.
map. This is going to
Mm.
catapult you. Yes,
Oh, thank you.
because,
Well, yeah,
and
for
then
me, it was a no-brainer. I can see probably budget-wise why some business owners would want to just do it and then
totally
maybe
understandable.
offer it or train it. But for me, I mean, budget. It is understandable, but there has to be a level of commitment to what you're going to spend on your team to
Yes.
ensure that there is a level of consistency and there's not this inconsistency when with other therapists versus, someone else within the business. So
And
for
the problem too
between,
that's happening in the industry is someone will go off to be trained by someone else, and then someone will come to me, and then there's a disconnect. And then so Susie comes to Fresh Face and books in with Amanda, who was trained by Isabella, but then can't get Amanda 1 week. So then goes to Jane, who was trained by someone else, and there's a big
mm,
difference.
mm,
And then they're like, oh, I like one of the other, but then of course Amanda's fully booked or one isn't fully
yeah,
booked, and, da, da,
and
da, and
that's
then
what we're
becomes a
not about.
problem.
Yeah, so I
So
think you need to spend money on your team, and I think when
absolutely.
you're about to put money into a new treatment and something
Yeah.
exciting to
You
offer,
all have to
yeah,
be.
it needs to be something you spend money on. So that was a
Yeah.
no-brainer for me, and also it's really amazing for the culture and for the
Oh,
therapists to be together, learning
so
together, getting
yeah.
excited together. Like that in itself brings
Oh,
buzz into the salon space, into the clientele
so
space as well.
powerful. Yeah,
Mm,
no, I'm very impressed. So yes, you're the first, and we were stoked to see. This was our vision as
mm.
me and my husband running the Skin Forme
Businesses.
Academy. We want businesses to
Mm.
commit to their teams and raise up the standard. So you were the first. So I was very
Oh,
excited to see
oh,
that coming
that's
to
good.
fruition for me as a business offering provider.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
So, Isabella, I want to go to some rapid fire reflections on your
Yes.
behalf and bust some myths. So, what is one myth about facial massage that you'd love to bust?
I think the myth on the customer side is that, unfortunately, as we started the conversation talking about, there still isn't a lot of value placed in how beneficial advanced facial massage can be for your body and your mind. It's still
Mm,
seen as a nice massage for the face. So
yeah.
the myth would be
Did
this
you
isn't going
say
to do
fluffy?
anything.
It's
Yes.
yeah.
So it's still seen as fluffy when
Mm,
actually it's therapeutic.
mm,
But I must admit, since COVID, that seems to be changing. A lot of people are a lot more educated. And I
mm,
think because we were so starved of touch, we all
mm,
noticed
and
how
connection.
hard it was to exist without being touched. And
Mm,
when you take touch away from someone for 2 years, they
mm,
suddenly realize, actually, I'm depressed. Someone touched me with intention.
mm,
So that's when I realized that the sentence "people will always pay to be nurtured" was the one that sprang to my mind after the second lockdown. You guys had it totally differently to us, you poor Victorians.
mm,
But I remember the day we opened after the second lockdown, and we made 4 months worth of bookings in something like 3 hours. The phone just did not stop ringing because people were so desperate to come and lie and be touched.
mm.
So I think the myth is that there's nothing more to it than just a nice massage. There's so much more to it. I've made a whole career out of it.
Yeah. And this
You
is
know,
why we do what we do. It's why I do what I do. I do what I do to connect to people, and
Mm,
I hire like-minded team members that have
yeah.
that same willingness and passion to actually truly connect and that love that connection with people
I
because
want to work for you.
well, you can't be in this industry if you don't
Can't do it all.
truly love
Yeah, you can't
someone
fake it.
and seeing through whatever they're going through and actually bringing a sense of calm and clarity
Yeah,
into their days. Like I
yeah,
think as a therapist, that should be actually at the core of what we do, and then everything
yeah,
else comes up from there.
absolutely.
What's the biggest transformation you've ever witnessed through the power of touch personally with what you offer?
So God, we could go for hours. So the most obvious to me are the transformations emotionally, like people crying once you've finished the treatment in that you've released emotional tension out of their masseter area and face. So the first one is emotional symptoms, so tears. The second is things like I remember when I first launched the Intrinsic Intensive, which is my 4-day course. I train these 12 therapists. The biggest transformation out of that course was that one of the girls who's a clinic owner, she had had jaw surgery and hadn't been able to close her mouth properly post the jaw surgery. And she said after I'd worked on her, she could close her mouth properly.
Oh, wow.
That was a big one. I was like, whoa, okay. And that's when I knew this was going to be a real career move for me, this training, because people needed it. They needed something unique and unusual that really challenged the borders of being a beauty therapist. And then since then, it's training therapists and watching their faces go from, oh, I'm not sure about this, like this is full on, to at the end of the train being like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like this has changed my life. So
Mhm.
there's been a lot of those moments. And then I had a therapist, a massage therapist, text me only this week. She said that she was working on a client that had had two sinus surgeries and hadn't been able to clear her sinuses, and then had two Buccal facials with my student, and her sinuses are cleared.
See.
So stuff like
But
that happens
these sort of
all the
symptoms that
time.
people think, oh, well, I've just got to live with it.
I've just got to live with
You know,
it,
this
or I've got to go and
uncomfort,
have
or it's
surgery.
normal, or
Yes,
I'll look at surgery one day when I have time
yes,
and make time off to get off work or whatever.
yes.
And just the power of massage and feeling relief, that's also long term. I mean, it's
Long
massive.
term. And
And
just
then
that, like,
obviously, and then also surface, obviously results
yeah,
as well.
surface.
But the way
Yeah.
they're actually able to feel and step into the day, if you can take away pain and sinus pain and
Oh,
blockages and,
oh.
someone that can't close their jaw, that's big.
That
Mm.
was huge. So yeah, things like that. And then I get text constantly in the Skin Forme community, because we've got a whole community of students in it, that's literally message and say, I can't believe I've just done a week of this after your course, and people are saying it's the best facial they've ever had. It's changed. Buccal and advanced facial massage has changed my life exponentially,
And so many others as well,
and
and
so
will
many others.
continue to. So
Yeah.
I want to take a moment and thank you for doing what you do, for the journey that
Oh,
you've had, and actually bringing it into Australia, for being so passionate about what you do as well, not
thank
only as
you.
a therapist, but as a trainer. Because
Oh,
I think even as a trainer with your academy, it's so empowering for therapists to step into your space and to see and feel your energy, your passion, your love. And you would have so many therapists that look up to you, Isabella. So
thank
you're a
you.
beautiful role model within this
Oh,
industry and community, and
thanks.
it's genuine. And I think
It's
it's
genuine.
something you should be really, really proud of, honestly.
Thank you.
What
Oh,
you've
I'm
achieved.
grateful for your words. I do work
True.
really hard, and it does come from a place of complete genuine love of the industry, but also
Feel it and
empowering
see it
women.
and
Thank
hear it.
you.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
evident. So
Oh, I'm
it's just
so
lovely
pleased.
to actually speak with you today, but also just connect, because we both share so much of that true love, passion, and care for our client, true
Yeah,
genuine care. And I know that it's actually like a ripple effect, especially if you're a
yeah.
trainer and you have, the Skin Forme Academy, you're actually creating a ripple effect
That's
amongst
the
other
goal.
therapists,
Yeah, that's
and
the goal. That's what I want. I want it
that's
to
the future
spread.
that I want for this industry as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
You know.
well, you're doing it, especially with this is a wonderful idea. Podcast, sharing your
Mm.
knowledge, sharing your passion and getting people on to talk about theirs. It's wonderful. So no, I'm very grateful that you're trusting me to come and teach you. And as I said, I know the universe always puts the right people and plans in front of me. So you were definitely supposed to come into my life, and I cannot wait to impart all my knowledge onto your team, and then have them change all your clients' lives even more than you already have.
Yeah, I think this is going to make so many clients excited listening to this
Yay!
podcast. It is coming.
It's coming.
So, Isabella, I
It's
wanted
coming.
you to just share how, say, therapists, business owners that may be listening to this episode can get in touch with you with the Skin for Me Academy. Uh,
Yes.
how do they get in touch?
Yeah, so the website for Skin Forme. So this is for therapists that are listening that either want to have a chat with us about where they can take their career, or if they've just lost their passion and want more, or they want to give their clients more. So www.skinformeacademy.com is that. And then for people like my Instagram, so I've got at Skin Forme Academy, and I'm sure Amelia will put the link somewhere.
So, to close, I wanted to just go over, summarize this beautiful conversation we've had with Isabella. So, facial massage is more than a technique. I'm sure you've all heard that now. It is a language of trust, transformation, and connection, true connection. Thank you, Isabella, for showing us how powerful it can be, and that it is, and not just for the skin, but for lives and for businesses as well, and therapists as well.
Yes. Yay.
So
Thank you for having
thank
me.
you. Thank you for tuning in, Fresh Faces, to another Fresh Face Skin podcast. I hope today's conversation has left you feeling educated, inspired, and supported on your own skin journey. If you loved this episode, please follow along on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and share it with someone who you think will benefit from hearing from it. You can also connect with me and the team at freshfaceskin.com.au. Thank you again for joining us and for giving us your time and expertise. Isabel,
No problem at all. It was absolutely my pleasure.
thank you, beautiful. Take care.